So a very warm welcome, Ganesh Bhatji. It's our pleasure to have you here.
Hey, namaskar.
Guys, let me brief you about Ganesh Bhatt. He's from Karnataka, India, and he's an ex-banker from as his profession. Currently, he's involved in agriculture sector, and since 70s, he's been a part of Proud movement. And he's been working with various NGOs related to farmers, education institutions, and as his job requirement, he has worked in various cities and states all over the India, and he has worked on a very grassroots level. Currently, he works under the flag of Protest Forum, and very special thing about him is as he's been involved into this Prout, he has a very good understanding, and he has this skill of providing solutions to any kind of problem in a protestic way, in no matter from which sector it is. So it's really our pleasure, Ganesh Bhatji, to have you here. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
So, Ganesh Bhatji, you have recently sent a letter to Prime Minister of India. Could you please give us a little brief that what it was all about?
See, it's particularly about the present situation. There has been a lockdown for more than a month, or it's almost 1.5 months, and all our economic activities have come to a standstill. Along with that, India had already, it was reeling under a sort of slowdown, economic slowdown, though government is not ready to accept it as a free recession or something like that. They say slowdown, okay, let's accept it as a slowdown. There was unemployment, but added to that, now there is a problem of reverse migration. See, Indian reverse migration does not concentrate or concern only people moving out of big cities like Delhi, Bangalore, or Mumbai and going back to that places. It also concerns with people coming back from different countries. There has been Indians working in almost all countries outside the India, and that too in all sectors, maybe from physical workers to the uh, intellectual levels, maybe engineers, doctors, or something like that. What it means to India after this corona lockdown is removed or it is relaxed is there will be a lot of unemployment concentrated in rural areas. Number one. Number two, there will be few more job losses from the cities also. But these people who have gone back to the villages, will they return back to the cities to in search of a job? The problem is people have lost confidence in the system. They are afraid when again the second or third lockdown or fourth lockdown will be imposed. So most of the people, they don't want to take a risk of coming back to the cities. They would like to stay there. What all the government can do in India is maximum they can give some ration or some food stuff for few months. So in this context, from the protestic background, because in Prout it has a simple solution. I suggested to the government of India, that is to PM, Finance Minister, and everybody, what are the decisions or steps the government can take to solve this problem. Number one, there has to be two bifurcations. One is policy matters which the central government has to take, and second is the practical programs which the state government can start doing it. The problem is, first is central does not give powers to the states. So they have to start by giving more economic powers to the states. There it comes the different points I have suggested to the government, where I have suggested from the like this, they have to go for first principle of globalize humanity, localize economy. It only means, see, now we are thinking of globalization. We are trying to invite investors from all over the globe. No investor comes here to improve our socio-economic conditions of India or any village or something like. What is an investor is interested is to maximize his profit. So let's forget this globalizing economy. Let's globalize humanity. Let us think entire world belongs to me, it's my family. But we have got to localize our economy. In localizing economy, the things which has to start is first to recognize some self-sufficient socio-economic zones. We have states, but they are all political units. They are not really the economic units. So we have to go for self-sufficient socio-economic zones. Here, the present system of economics of the development, they don't have this concept. They think that resources are available at some places and the production has to be at some places, some of the jobs will be created and all. They don't have a concept of making small units into self-sufficient economic zones, which Prout has. So the central government has to accept this concept of creating self-sufficient socio-economic zones. After this comes decentralized planning. Present day planning is centralized planning. The central government thinks what all is to be done, and they go on dividing it state-wise and district-wise and block-wise. Whereas Prout says it's bottom-up planning. We start from a block level planning and go go up by uh, combining this planning or coordinating this planning at different, say, district level, the socio-economic zones and state level, and then at the country level. Here an attempt is made to make every zone which you have carved out into a self-sufficient economic unit that has to start at block level itself. So these are the things which I have suggested to the Prime Minister, where we have said, see, in the present day, local people neither have any say in planning or in implementation of the uh, developmental projects. Unless people are allowed to participate or people participation is there in the developmental project, the developmental projects will not, the benefits will not certainly reach the people. So then some practical suggestions I have given to them, where the at state level they can take it. That mainly it is about how block level planning has to be done. The difference in the present day planning and Proud's planning is that Proud believes in one thing, that the nature has kept lot of resources in each area, and it has also given the intellect to the human beings, where the human beings can identify those resources and make use of them for the benefit of the local people. That way, almost all blocks here mean it is again an economic unit, not unlike the present day units, which are mainly administrative units, that's political units. So we have to really rearrange these blocks based on our economic needs, similarity of economic resources, geographical features, contiguity of the area, etc., etc. So these fact on based on these factors, the planning has to be done. That's why there has to be a planning board from starting from local area, that is block, up to the national level. The fact, the uniqueness of Proutistic planning starts here based on the local uh, resources. The planning has to be done in such a way that one, the maximum number of people get employment in the near vicinity of his dwelling, maybe a village or just nearby, where he can go in the morning and come back in the evening. That is first thing, maximum possible employment opportunities. Second, the overall planning should be in such a way that the self-sufficient socio-economic zone is created, or rather the socio-economic zone which we have identified becomes self-sufficient. So the planning has to move in that direction to give 100% employment, which Prout says. whereas the capitalistic thinking and all, they for 100% is an utopia for them. For us, it is possible because in Prout we think of balanced economy. Balanced economy, Prout means where certain percentage of people will be dependent on different sectors of economy, like about 30 to 40% on agriculture, about 10 to 20% on agro industries, agri co-industries, then the general industries, the service sector. That is not the hard and fast rule that a next person will be removed from that. But thing is, we have to have a broad outline of where the people should seek an employment. See, the present day planning does not even bother about the characteristic of the available labor. How many people are available as physical laborers, as intellectual laborers? The planning has to move in a different way for an area where there is surplus physical labor. The planning for an area where there is surplus intellectual labor has to be different. Of course, once this concept is made known to the planners, the present planning body itself, or the people who are working in different, say, government departments like agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry, industry department, etc. If they are made clear about how this planning has to go, they themselves will be able to do it. We need not bring people from outside or some other place to make it. So with these things, initially government may take up, like support the by doles or government charities or whatever it is for a few months, but a serious attempt has to be made to settle these people with a fruitful employment. Fruitful employment, I mean, where they are given sufficient purchasing power and they are able to meet the minimum essentialities of like food, cloth, shelter, education, and medical needs of the earning member as well as the dependent family members. So this aspect has to be taken into consideration. With this background, I think the Indian government, if they are interested, well, good number of Prout experts all over the world to give theory and even practical aspects of Prout. They can seek we are our assistant and we are ever ready to help them. The big question mark is whether the government will seek into it, because our Prime Minister during in one of his speeches in a cooperative unit during November, somewhere in October, November 2018, he said the next alternate for the present day capitalism and communism is nothing but a cooperative economy. I don't know how far he is aware of Prout's economic theory, but Prout is a cooperative economy. Here, there will be no competition between private sector and Prout cooperative sector. It's all well defined which activities are to be taken under cooperative sector, which are the ones to be taken up by private sector, and which are those activities where it's only the immediate state government or the local government has to take care of it. In this way, mm, including avoiding stock markets or mainly the speculative market activity. It's because the entire world now is facing recession. Except proud economists who have been telling it since, say, decades. The major reason of recession and depression is concentration of wealth. That is nothing but stopping rolling of money. If when there is concentration of wealth in the hands of few, particularly this rolling of money will be stopped, and they would like to maximize their profit. And in present day or the present conditions, it is only the speculative activity which brings the maximum profit, which is naturally unproductive. That again adds to the reeling of recession and it turns into depression. So certain of those suggestions also given it to our present government.